Hello, Captain's Log, September 15th, 2021. Now today we're going to be covering a story that I've wanted to talk about for a long time, and a story that you guys have probably heard if you watch my streams a lot, that being how I got into Chris Chan. Now this story starts all the way back in 2014, and yes, it really does go that far back. Me and my friend Devin, he is a guy I know in real life, and he used to be on my channel way back when, so if you watched my channel for years, you probably know who I'm talking about. We were playing a game where we just look up random stuff online. And what we were doing that day was Your Name the Hedgehog. Eventually, we just started throwing random things in there to see what would pop up, and we ended up looking up Pikachu the Hedgehog. Pikachu the Hedgehog, of course, brought up Sonichu. We saw a little bit about Sonichu. We saw a little bit of the comics. We didn't read any of the comics in full. We didn't know who made it. We just knew that Sonichu existed. We knew that this was a thing that existed out in the real world. So that was all I knew about Sonichu at the time. Well, later on, the same year actually, I was in a group on Facebook called The World of Sonic the Hedgehog. That group has since renamed a couple times over. I no longer have a Facebook, so I can't tell you the name that it has now, but just know it does exist, and there's no way to verify this story because they wipe the board a lot, so my old posts are probably gone. But way back when, around the time of the Blue Arms incident, Chris Chan was on that group, and he was posting about Sega changing Sonic's arms to blue. And the reason why I know about this happening at all is because the users and the admins on the page told everyone to not interact with Chris Chan, that they had every intention to ban him, and that they just hadn't gotten around to it. Well, I decided to check out what Chris Chan was doing. I wanted to know what this weird Blue Arms stuff was, and I saw that he was sharing around a letter, a totally legit letter that definitely came from Sega, that told him that they were changing Sonic's arm color to blue in every part of the franchise, classic, modern, etc. Well, I thought that this was funny, and so because April Fool's Day was right around the corner, I'm pretty sure, I could be misremembering, but I wanted to make a joke video. So I decided to cover this story and treat it legit. In my video, I didn't mention Chris Chan at all. I didn't even know that he was a lolcow. I didn't know that he was internet famous. So for those of you guys who are going to say that I trolled Chris Chan or that I'm some type of Chris Chan troll or ween, I'm not. I just covered the story as is, like it was legit. And Chris Chan never saw my video, and my video wasn't even up that long because I got hacked. I got hacked in that same year. They took down most of my old videos, which is why my old videos are just gone completely, and they changed my URL to some very inappropriate things. Maybe I'll talk about that one day if I decide to do real life stories on my channel instead of just Chris Chan and Sonic related stuff, but that's a whole nother story for a different day. But they ended up deleting that video. The video was just me reading the letter straight out and treating it like it was legit. I got angry and said that Sega needed to change Sonic's arms color back, and that was it. That was the whole thing. I didn't fuck with Chris Chan, I didn't interact with Chris Chan, I just read his thing as a joke for my audience. And that's as far as that went. It would be a bit till I actually found out who Chris Chan was and what this whole thing was about. Later on, he got kicked from that Facebook group, and I heard that he got arrested. And when I saw the photo, I saw that they had Sonichu next to him. And I'm like, oh wow, this is that Pikachu Sonic thing. He wrote that. And I'm someone who kind of believes that if there's a coincidence, you need to follow that. So the fact is, the same year that I found the Pikachu Sonic thing, I also was drawn to Chris Chan. So I decided to look more into that and continue to look into that. Now, this was well before the Geno Samuel documentary, so there was no quick way to learn about Chris Chan. I had to learn about Chris Chan the hard way. I went on the Quickie and read all the information that I could about Chris Chan, because I planned on covering him one day. I planned on documenting Chris Chan one day. And for the Sonichu comics, there really wasn't an efficient way to read them, so I started watching D-Steck's Sonichu review. And I watched all the episodes as they came out. I watched every summer of Sonichu until he was done with the reviews completely. And I really liked D-Steck's videos, and I would still recommend you check out his Sonichu reviews. They're actually really good. They're probably one of the best Sonichu reviews out there. D-Steck's isn't good anymore, unfortunately, but at least those reviews still stand, and they are actually really good Chris Chan content. He doesn't just review the comic, he actually gives a whole lot of information about Chris Chan, and this was a good way to get into Chris Chan to begin with. Later on, I would make another April Fool's Day video called Top 10 Sonichus. This was a few years down the line. And in that video, I was totally not serious. I had Rick Astley playing in the background. And I said that Magichan was my favorite Sonichu because he was purple. So, not a legit video. Some people took it seriously. Those people are dumb. It was just a joke video. It would still be another year or so before I ended up covering Chris Chan honestly and trying to actually do content on him. And the reason why I decided to cover Chris Chan is because I saw people like Base Shaman covering Chris Chan, and I didn't like the way that Base Shaman was covering Chris Chan. Now, I don't hate Base Shaman. I really don't. I just think that the way that he covers Chris Chan content will give people a false idea on who Chris Chan is, and will lead people to think that Chris Chan needs to be pitied. And I thought that the way that he was covering Chris Chan would lead more people to fucking with Chris Chan and giving Chris Chan money, which is never a good thing. It wasn't a good thing for back then, and it wasn't a good thing here recently. So I decided to start covering Chris Chan, and when I decided to start covering Chris Chan, I covered him more cynically. I'd been wanting to do a series called Sonic Insanity, where I cover insane Sonic people, and I thought Chris Chan would be a good launching point. So I started covering Chris Chan content to promote Sonic Insanity, and eventually a Chris Chan YouTube community sprung up. People saw me as someone who was important in it, and I continued to do Chris Chan videos ever since. And that was the story of how I got into Chris Chan and how I got into Chris Chan YouTubing. Now, I know it's very weird, and you guys are probably going to think that I made some of it up, because it is really coincidental. But it seems like no matter what, throughout my life, throughout my recent life on the internet, I have been drawn to Chris Chan. It was almost like I was always intended to cover Chris Chan's life. I was always intended to make Chris Chan videos, and no matter what I did, I kept running into him on the internet. So I accept that I'm going to cover Chris Chan content. I accept that some people are going to see me as the Chris Chan guy, and that's fine. I chose this path, I chose to do these types of videos, and I'm really glad that I can continue to do them, and I'm glad that you guys consider me a reliable source for Chris Chan information. I've been on the scene since before a lot of people who are into Chris Chan now, so it's really good to be able to tell people about this crazy stuff that Chris Chan's done throughout his life. Hopefully you guys will continue to watch my videos though, and hopefully you guys like this story. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you really like this video, then share it. And if you want to see more content like this, then subscribe. Thank you guys for watching, and bye.